women can do anything. That's the line, right?
Yep.
Okay. No one gave me the line.
This is Laura Clausen, and this is her studio in Toronto.
Unless you have a baby, in which case your life is over.
Clausen is the founder of a nonprofit organization, Choice for Two, which calls itself pro-woman, pro-baby, and pro-life. But mostly she prides herself on being an anti-abortion influencer.
And no, this isn't my baby. I wouldn't be so foolish. I borrowed her as a prop to scare you away from making the worst mistake of your life.
Clausen started making videos like these about 4 years ago. The most popular has over 1 million views on Facebook, and it's been recreated by activists in Argentina, Germany, and Puerto Rico.
We're doing a video about basically eating copious amounts of donuts is not consent to gaining weight, because one of the arguments I hear it all the time is consent to sex is not consent to pregnancy.
Clausen's making these videos for a global audience from a country where 77% of people say abortion should be allowed. Since a 1988 Supreme Court decision, there has been no federal or criminal law regulating abortion care in Canada, which means that abortion is technically legal at any stages of pregnancy, as long as it abides by local health regulations.
Okay, if I get fat from this, someone is going to be in big trouble, and it's not me. We started them because we wanted to engage our culture. We didn't just want to be, preaching to the choir of people who are pro-life in Canada. We really wanted to reach the other side. And if we were just going to make a video that was basically abortion is bad, it would never reach a lot of people. And so I had this idea of short, satirical, colorful, quirky videos. And that was the goal.
Who is your primary target audience?
We have a lot of everyone, which is cool. And we do have a lot of younger people. And they are worldwide as well.
Professor Kelly Gordon has been studying the anti-abortion movement in Canada for the last decade.
Observe, not a person, not a person, not a person, coming out the other end, a person! Human rights!
What do you think of that?
What I find interesting about that video is the way that they're borrowing, I think, from other strategies on the left. So this kind of satirical takedown, like a little bit smug, a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but it's certainly attention-grabbing and really interesting.
Can you sort of describe the anti-abortion movement in Canada?
It's a movement that has been losing for the last 25 years. When it first formed, it formed under the banner of larger religious organizations. Since then, what my research has shown is that the movement is changing sort of its face and its voice to try to appeal to Canadians in a different way than it did in the 1980s.
You write a lot about how the abortion movement has moved from what you describe it as male-led, conservative, fetal-centric, religious, to something different now.
That brand doesn't resonate with the Canadian public or the Canadian electorate. This has sort of pushed the movement to attempt to rebrand itself, both the way that it looks, so by foregrounding very smart, very telegenic young women, and then they've also changed the way that they argue their position.
While Laura embodies the changing face of the movement with her pink wig and satire, some of her views are radical, even for the most extreme wing of the anti-abortion movement. Do you believe that a woman should be able to have access to an abortion if she's raped?
No, because you either believe that a baby in the womb is a human being or not. And I know that from the moment of conception, that's a new human being.
Would you consider yourself a feminist?
No. No, I personally do not feel oppressed at all as a woman in any way.
I saw you also tweeted and you used the hashtag anti-abortion.
Yeah.
Why use that phrase?
People used to say you're anti-abortion as like an insult. And then I was like, I'm totally anti-abortion. Like, that's not an insult.
What has been the response like from other anti-abortion activists in the movement?
Funny enough, there are some people that don't get it's satire. So, we'll have some pro-lifers being like, you're an awful human being. Like, why? Because they don't get it, right? Mostly that's very supportive because they like this new idea. They see that it's reaching people. And so they're on board with how we're getting our message out.
Do you talk with other sort of influencers in the movement, leaders in the anti-abortion movement here in Canada. How do you connect with them?
Yeah, we're all connected. So we have the political arm, the pastoral arm being like all the pregnancy care centers, and the educational arm, maybe the people out there with the graphic images and that kind of thing. We are coordinating. We are all coming at it from different ways.
Despite the rise of the new women-led, social media savvy anti-abortion groups in Canada, support for abortion still remains high.
We didn't have this platform before, so whereas we wouldn't have been able to put our message out on TV, now we can because it's just social media. And in terms of seeing individual people kind of step forward, especially here, because it's not politically correct to be anti-abortion, people, they'll tell me, they'll be like, because you're so bold, now I'm bold too.